community, we give people the opportunity to come in and share and actually learn about our campaign, actually get to come in, hear about how we're changing lives. And as you can see, people post on there, and people are actually in a position to where they can actually share and see the results of our national campaign. I also want to share with you today about our Saving the Future book and our workbook, and how is it that it's helping families. Our Saving the Future book is where we're teaching people's finance 101 and teaching them how to build a solid financial foundation. And with our workbook is where they get access to our financial literacy workshops so they could come on and learn more. We talk about 5 series of workshops that we provide, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. But what I want to do is share with you how this blue book is really saving families' future and actually teaching them some of the basic principles of how to build a financial foundation. So what I want to do is that, a lot of people always asking me, why is it that we're on this campaign? Why we do what we do, right? Why is it that we do what we do and why we're in this national campaign? Now, let me tell you why. You see, it was according to a recent survey that they did in North America, right? And they did one in Canada, and they also did one in the U.S. And one of the things that we have identified, being here in the U.S. is that they said that in the U.S. the picture is even gloomier, right? Think about the fact that 33% or more than 77 million Americans don't pay their bills on time, right? How about the fact that 39% carry credit card debt from month to month? And then the fact that only 59% of adults even say they have savings. They even go on to say that worse, more than half now think it's acceptable to default their mortgage if they can't afford to pay for it. So when you think about these statistics and the numbers, is the reason why we launched our campaign. Because my question to you is, who's helping those people? Who's helping your friends? Who's helping your family? Who's teaching them about finance? And that's where our national campaign for financial literacy plays a major role in that. Now, the other thing that you got to think about is the fact that when we sit down with families, people always ask us, what is our intention when we sit down with families? Our intention to sit down with every family is that we want to teach families how to, number one, how to make money. And number two, we want to teach them how to then eventually save that money. And then ultimately, our goal is to help you learn how to grow that money. And then eventually, we're going to teach you how to also protect that money. Now, every family that we sit down with, we got to teach them what's called the financial foundation, right? You got to learn how to build a solid financial foundation. And we teach you how to put together the right type of protection for you and your family. We show you how to put together how to manage your debt and eliminate them. We show you how to create an emergency fund and also how to invest and where to invest your money, right? Also, when we sit down with families, we sit down with them and, let them understand how money works. It's important for every family to learn the wealth formula. Because if they learn the wealth formula, you pretty much know how to understand how money works. So that's why when we sit down with families, we also have this money talk with them. When we sit down with families, our conversation with them is to pretty much let them know how can they build wealth and understanding money by teaching the wealth formula. So when we sit down with families, we talk about how to pay yourself first, right? You pay everybody else, but you got to teach you how to pay yourself first. And then we show you how to make these small changes and how the result will be big money, right? So one of the next things that we show you the difference between saving $10 a day versus $20 a day towards your retirement and show you the result of that, as you can see there. The next thing that we do when we sit down with families is that we show them, we talk about the rate of return, show them the importance of having the magic of compound interest, and talk about the rule of 72 and how that is a great way to something for you to know. We also sit down and we show families the different effect that the type of interest, compound interest, have on their money, right? 3 different ways, because sometimes you may think that you're getting 4% of your money is a good thing until you learn that there's a big difference, right? And then we'll show you all of that as well when we sit down with families. When we sit down with families, we also teach them about inflation and why is that a silent killer, right? It's important to know what inflation is, because if you don't know what inflation is, then guess what? You're not going to be really prepared for the future, right? So we show them also the effect of inflation on the buying power that their money have. And we also show them, even if you wanted to get a certain amount of money coming in, we show them the difference with that as well. When we sit down with families, we also show them the 3 ways that money get taxed, right? We got to teach families the 3 ways that money get taxed when they need it. You must know the difference between tax now, tax later, and tax advantage, right? And what we do is that we also spend a lot of time showing families the definition of what tax now means, and we break down what is tax later. Just recently, they just did an update on the RMD where they moved the required minimum distribution up from 70.5 to 72 now, right, due to the Security Act that just passed. And we also break down what is the tax advantages, and we will get an idea. After we break that down with families, they pretty much have an idea how they want to be taxed. Because one of the things that I say is that if you understand taxes, you know where to put your own money, right? You don't need nobody to tell you. As long as you understand taxes, you know where to put your own money, right? And that's some of the simplicity things that we break down. We also break down with families, because one of the biggest questions that families have to ask us is, can I build wealth, Keon? Right? Can I build wealth? And the answer to everybody, I say, yeah, but it's steps. It's steps to it, but you got to be consistent and disciplined, right? But better, you got to understand how to build wealth. So we even talk about understanding again. We break down and go through the review of what the wealth formula is with every family, once again in the blue book here. And then we ask a series of questions. We ask you 4 simple questions, and then we'll sit down with every family and ask them these questions. And it's just to pretty much have an idea of where they are as far as when they come to building their wealth. And we also give them a game plan with the Formula 1020 and let them know, understand what is need to be in place and what needs to be there for them as well. So these are things that we do for families, and we break it down to them, like I said, on a one-on-one basis, so that way they understand, right? And the next thing that we do is that we ask questions, Questions like, is money controlling you, or do you control money, right? So with our financial educational campaign, in our workshops, one of the things that we provide, like I said, is our financial workshops, right? And that's when you get access to our workbook. And within our workbook, let me tell you what you're going to learn in our workshops. We have 5 workshops. And in workshop 1, you're going to learn how to increase your cash flow and how to manage your debt. In workshop 2, you're going to learn how to budget, right? You're going to learn about building a financial foundation and putting together proper protection. And in workshop 3, you're going to learn how to build wealth and how asset accumulation happens. And in workshop 4, you're going to learn about retirement planning and also how to preserve that wealth, right? And then in workshop 5, you're going to learn how to build pretty much a business in the financial industry, if that's something that wouldn't be a conflict for you, or, so on, if you want to learn how to make some additional income. So pretty much what you could do is write down what workshop pretty much popped out to you. And what we do is that we give you information on the next upcoming workshops that's taking place in our center here, and let you know what workshop. But every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. is when we normally conduct our workshops in our center here. So that way we could then tell you what workshop is coming up like tomorrow night, right? So sit down with the person that invites you, so that way you could get the answer for that. So just to tell you a little bit about how we're building a new industry with our financial literacy campaign, right? Or why. And that's what we're going to share with you today. Why is it important for us to do this for families? And one of the things that you got to think about is the fact that there's uncertainty on the horizon right now, right? And if you realize that the world is changing in unpredictable ways, but so is your financial future, you got to think about the fact that to cut costs, right? Many companies are moving their jobs overseas right now. And the fact that automation is going to mean more jobs going to be lost. When you look at the fact that many small businesses may have limited capital, making it more difficult to compete with the companies with bigger chains and larger distribution systems. So the mom and pop store can't really compete with like a Walmart, right? We know that traditionally we're supposed to work for 40 years between the age of 25 to 65 and then retire. But now younger people may have difficulty finding a gainful employment and may struggle throughout the retirement years. So because of this, we see the obstacles ahead. We've seen these obstacles ahead based just off that alone. So when you think about it, the first obstacles that we see is the fact that there's a retirement crisis. Think about the fact that the traditional pillars of retirement is now in doubt. And it's because of the poor saving habits that most of us have. You know that fewer companies offering pensions and retirement benefits such as Social Security is becoming unsustainable. Think about the fact that we used to have what's called a 3-legged stool concept, where you'd have your Social Security, your company pension, and some personal savings. But nowadays, we even go to their website. Social Security tell you that it may be exhausted in a certain period of time. And the fact that most companies don't even give you a pension anymore. They give you now a defined contribution plan, right? So when the other thing is that you also got to look at the education crisis. Think about the fact that tuition costs keep rising every year. How about the fact that student loan is becoming a major burden, right? And some graduates have trouble finding a good job and the right career for them. How many people that get a master's degree in something and they go flipping burgers, right? Because there's no job. Or they go work in a field that even require the stuff that they study for. Right? So we've seen that happening, and that's one of the things that we got to plan for. How about the fact that we have a spending crisis, right? Think about this. Think about the fact that the budget deficits and the rising national debt could actually increase pressure on the government to either raise taxes or reduce funding to retirement programs like Social Security. You know that some people spend more on things they don't need with money they don't have. And we understand that keeping up with our social media friends could get very expensive. Us young people call it flossing. A lot of people do things on the internet just to look a certain way or carry on this persona or keeping up with the Joneses, as a lot of the folks before us used to say. Don't get caught up in that life, man. It's a very expensive life. And let me tell you, don't fake it till you make it. Just keep it real, right? Keep it real. I always say, I love a post. I saw a business partner of ours, Sean. He posted a post. He said, man, stack your money and look broke. Stack your money and act broke, because that's a big thing for you to do. You want to start saving, because live a lifestyle now that people don't want to live. And guess what? You'll live a lifestyle later that they can only dream about. All right. Now, the next thing is that you got to think about what is your situation right now. Right? You got to keep that in mind every time when it comes to your finances. Do you have problem paying your bills? Right? Are you concerned about your job or your career? Think about this. Are you paid what you're worth? Right? Are you paid what you're worth? Think about that. Are your children growing up and your parents growing old faster than you could provide for them? Do you feel this a financial trap affecting your family? They call it the sandwich era, where you're taking care of your children and your parents at the same time. It's ironic that we live in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but so many of us have money problems, right? Some of us could work hard all our lives and still retire poor. And many of us do so much to raise our kids just to see them finish college with a lot of debt. In America, debt become a way of life. Debt have become a way of life in America. Think about it. How do you build credit? Right? You got to think about that. How do you build credit? You got to go in debt first and then pay the debt, right? So even just think of that. That's crazy, right? So the lack of financial knowledge is the reason why many of us fall into this category. Many don't have much and many don't know much either. Think about the fact that many people were not taught how to manage their money or how to read a financial statement. Think about the fact that financial issues are not often discussed and financial products are not always fully understood. Think about the fact that some people buy insurance policies and then just bury them in the closet. And the fact that some people contribute to the employee's retirement plan and don't pay close attention to it. So when you think about it, a large number of people do not even have a will, a trust, nor a plan to protect their family. And it's because we are active spenders and passive savers. And that's something that we must really take in perspective. And if we really want to be prepared for the future. The other thing is that you got to think about is that we believe in financial education. That's why we launched our national campaign. But we want you to understand that your future is not in the hands of your employer, your union, your government. Neither is in the hands of the bank nor a broker. We want you to understand that your future, the future, is in your hands. And that's why we want to give you the understanding and the tools so that way you could learn how to make money, save money, accumulate money, and protect your money. We want to teach you how to be your own money manager. We want you to be educated because we know that knowing less is going to cost you a lot more. See, we have understand that you want to learn how to understand how money works so that way you can make money work for you, right? Think about the fact that we spend so many years in school learning how to make a living, but we should also invest the time to actually learn how some of the basics to save a fortune. It's not hard. It's really easy. So when you look at it, you won't be free until you're financially free. You won't be free until you're financially free. So my thing is, what are we going to do? We got to do something different, right? So what we're trying to do is that our mission is to motivate people. We're here to motivate people. And let me tell you why. Number one, we want to help people understand how money works, because some people work for money, but they don't know how to make money work for them. Number two, we want to teach them how to have a financial goal and a plan for the future. Because people don't just walk around planning to fail all their life. It's just that they fail to plan. And then we want to teach families how to cut down their expenses. Show you how to cut down your expenses, because you got to realize that it's not how much you earn that actually counts. It's really what you keep. And when you think about number four, we want to teach you how to reduce your debt and your liabilities, because the interest upon your debt will actually limit your ability for future savings. And number five, we're going to teach you how to increase your cash flow, because we want to show you how to make money and actually make money when you can, while you can. And you got to have multiple sources of income. That's how most people become a billionaire in this country. They have multiple sources of income. They always say that you need at least 7 streams of income, right? You can't just live off one. That's the reason why many of us fall into the trap. because we only have one source of income. So everything that we teach people on our motivation to help people, you got to understand that until you're ready to change, nothing changed. That's why number 6 is so important. You got to embrace change and be certain in uncertain time, right? So what we're trying to do is that we want to teach you how to control your future. That's our goal for every family. We want to teach them how to control their future so that way they can win the money game too. So we want people to be a part of this new industry that help families, right? Families need help. Your families need help. Who's helping your friends, your families, your co-workers? That's what our national campaign is about. That's why we showed you how we sit down with families and teach them with our Saving Your Future book. Because I told you, our mission is to educate 1 million families before the year 2020. And as you understand that knowledge is power, and our company is here, and we're very determined to provide 1 million families with this information. And that's why we give them access with our workbook. So we provide the workshops and the training. So that way people could come here and learn how to increase their cash flow, how to manage their debt, how to build a strong financial foundation, how to put together proper protection, how to build wealth, how asset accumulation happen, how retirement planning work. And we also show them about wealth preservation. Not only that, we teach them about all kind of the platform. We have such a big platform that we could teach people about all kind of investment. We teach people about all kind of investments in retirement, insurance, health, educational planning, and we have access to multiple services. So we hold these classes and provide the knowledge and strategies and solutions in all major areas of the financial industry and give all these services to families. And one of the things that you got to look at is the fact that this is the era of the informed consumers, right? You see, the one thing that we know about today's time is that everybody want to learn how to help themselves. We live in such an ambitious time, and a lot of people are getting a lot of conscious about their financial situation. But the thing is that you got to make sure that you know what you're doing as well, right? You can't just listen to your neighbor that tell you to go buy Bitcoin, right? You got to actually know what you're going to get yourself into. So, you see, our company, right? We're an innovative concept in the financial industry. You see, we help people who actually want to help themselves and pretty much build their financial foundation. Do you know that from across the US and Canada, people from all walks of life have benefit from our platform? And the way they do so is by simply, first, they get educated about all aspects of their personal finances. And then number 2, they have access to hundreds of financial products and services. And they receive the training and the support they need to learn on how to manage their money and become their own money manager. We also give people the opportunity to earn referral incomes, right? They get to learn how to earn referral incomes on various products and services. They also get the opportunity to actually earn commissions by simply getting their license, because we are a licensed institution here. You have to be licensed, right? We're not one of those things, as people would like to say. We are a licensed institution that requires licensing because we are compliant and we're highly certified and highly regulated in the industry. All right, so everybody that sit down with you and talk to you about your personal finances will be a licensed individual that would come and talk to you. So you could actually learn and earn in the financial industry as well. And that's one of the great things that our campaign offer to the public as well. It's not like most institutions that require you to go full-time. You can actually still do this while you have your part-time or your full-time job and actually learn and earn at the same time with us. So when you think about the distribution revolution, right? You see, those who control distribution control their target market. And that's a major thing. And you think about this. When you take a look at the major retailers, right? Their main focus is on distribution and building more outlets to gain access to more consumers, right? So it's the same thing in the financial industry as well. Those who actually have more access by helping more people understand how money works can control their target market and actually their future as well. Because think about it. Who out there don't want to learn about finance? Who out there don't need financial education? I think everybody does. And that's the great thing, that you could be that person that actually provide that to them. So you got to remember, there's only 2 ways to make it big. It's either you have a lot of money to make that money work for you, or other way you can make it big is that you can help a lot of people make more money and you can actually make more money at the same time. That's what I love about this. The more I help people is the more the company pays me. And that's what I love about our campaign, right? So a revolution in the financial industry is emerging right now. And I'm happy to say that you're a part of it already. You're already a part of it. It's just a matter of, are you getting compensated for it, right? So there's a powerful business platform that we have to offer to every one of our business partners and campaigners that qualify for our opportunity. You see, we have a world-class support system. When you think about it, World Financial Group Inc. and World Financial Group Canada, they are a Trans-America company, and which is one of the best business platforms, one of the fastest growing organizations in the financial industry. When you look at the fact that we have a proven track record, think about the fact that in 2016, over 4,700 of our actual business partners have earned over $100,000 in annual income. Many of them have become financially independent, and many of them actually make good part-time income with us, and they start paying off their debt. They actually start building their financial future and start saving for their retirement and stuff like that. And the way they're doing it is because we have a proven system. You see, our system requires that first we train the trainer and then we build the builder. Everybody that starts within our campaign, you start off as a trainee, just like your job. You start off at the bottom and you work your way up. But here, you start off as a trainee. And our goal is to help you to become a trainer within your first, 30 days. And in 60 days, we want to help you to become a builder. And ultimately, our 90-day goal for you is to help you become a system builder. And just know that every step of the way, there's a trainer with you. There's a mentor. You will have a mentor and someone that will guide you. Now, because of your hard work, you get to travel the world, right? I always say that the more selfless you are, is the more reward you will get. The more you do for others, the more you get here. Because when you go hard and you start campaigning, you start educating people, you start teaching people, you start learning for yourself, that hard work pays off, because then you get to travel the world with our firm. Now, the good thing is that you could participate and qualify for our dream trips every year. We've brought thousands of people around the world. We've brought people to Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Hawaii, right? Spain. We're getting ready to go to Rio. We're getting ready to go to China for 2020. One of the things that we look at is the fact that happy travel equals happy family. The fact that you can also qualify for this and you and your family could go as well. So one of the things that you got to look at is that fact that life is about choices, right? When it's all said and done, life is about choices. You got to think about what will your future look like 5 years from now. What will your future look like 5 years from now? And you got to think about that really hard, because just 6 years ago when I first started this campaign, I know for a fact that I didn't know where I would be 6 years later. I was just living paycheck to paycheck, right? I was working these multiple jobs, trying to make ends meet, trying to figure out a way. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that life is all the way perfect, but I tell you this much, it's a lot better. It's a lot better because I'm in control. And that's what I want to give everybody the opportunity to be in control. I can determine how much I make. I can determine when I work. I can determine how much I work. I'm in control. My life has become more predictable, right? So just if you don't have an idea of what you may see for yourself, let me give you an idea of what they did for me, right? And this is something that you could look into consideration. One of the things I could advise for you is that, you could actually save your future, right? And the way you could do that is by pretty much, learn how money works, right? Learn how money works, make some extra income on a flexible schedule. You can start getting rid of some of your debts, and then be in a position to where you can start saving for your children's education and your retirement. And that's the part-time, right? You could start with this campaign part-time. And then eventually you could work your way into where you could become, a full-time with us, right? And this is where you could build your future, right? You could then actually transition into this exciting career in the financial industry. And, you could potentially even build up residual income, financial security with renewals, trails, supervisions, and then something called override, also known as spreads, right? You could build a team with us, right? I like to say you could build your own family. You could build a whole bunch of friendships and, change some lives. So you could be a part of something big. You could be a part of something big, a lot bigger than what you're probably used to. So build a large organization all over the U.S. and Canada and pretty much educate and help thousands of families. You have an endless supply of people that need the education. They need to have access to information so that way they can make better decisions planning for their financial future. You could be the answer to that. So if you are born poor, it's not your mistake. But if you die poor, it's your mistake. A very powerful quote by Bill Gates. And what Bill Gates is pretty much saying is that you can't help the circumstances that you were born into. But one thing you could do is that once you became an adult, you became a grown-up to make decisions for yourself. You can either use your setbacks as an excuse, or you could use them as a slingshot to throw you forward and let it be your motivation. That's why I always say that life is about choices. And you got to know what choice you want to make, right? Use your setbacks, use your disadvantage as your motivation to propel you forward. And you could change a lot of lives that way. You could, I always say, be the person that changed your family's last name. Be the person that changed your family's last name so that way you could do great things in the future. So here's the thing. Make a difference. I encourage you to make a difference. That's the reason why we encourage people to join our fight for, financial illiteracy, fight debt, the insecurity, the insecurity that families are dealing with when it comes to their finances. You see, our mission is very clear. We're going to build a new industry, but better yet, our mission is to pretty much protect wealth for families, and we pretty much want to help people move from financial insecurity to financial independence. And our vision, a very big vision, we're going to build a new industry. We're going to build a new industry with 1 million business associates worldwide, and we're going to revolutionize the financial industry. See, we're going to help people with this whole customer dilemma, the lack of understanding, planning, and support that they're already receiving, or lack of that they're receiving right now. So I hope we shared something with you today that you're willing to put your life to, that you can see, that you can believe in. And you're willing to put your life to fight for it. It's a very powerful quote by our head coach and mentor named Swan Nguyen. If it wasn't for this campaign, I don't know where I would be, like I told you. Working these 3 jobs, I did that for about 5 years until literally my cousin called me and said, hey, come check out this thing. I came down, checked it out. I was very skeptical, like most of you probably is right now. And that's quite fine. Being skeptical is good. But I think if you're pretty much see something here, don't let this just be the time where you say, oh, it's one of those things. Come back. Get your questions answered. Don't just assume, because you may be wrong. And what's going to happen is that you're going to look back years from now and you're going to say, wow, I remember when I went to one of those. And guess what happened? You're going to see someone that did join our campaign and it changed their lives. And you're going to look back and say, that could have been me. So don't be you. Don't let that be your story. Let that story be that at least come back and get your answers, your questions answered. So that way you can make a much more educational decision. All right. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go over a quick survey card. They're going to hand out some survey cards for you guys. So that way you guys can have this. And for those that are online, that is listening in, we're going to go over the survey card with you guys. And these are just yes or no questions. And one of the questions that I'm going to ask is some personal challenges, right, that you might be facing. And if you're for those online, you most likely probably don't have a survey card in front of you. So one of the things that we're going to do is that we're going to have you guys just write down this information on a blank piece of paper, so that way you could give it in afterwards to the person that invites you. So the question number 1 is, are you still suffering from financial losses as a result of recent economic downturns, right? So these are yes or no questions. So just think about that for a second. Those are just yes or no questions, right? Let us know if you did, yes or no. Number 2 question is, are you concerned about any of the following things, right? So this is number 2. So these are 6 bulletins. So you can pretty much go through the bulletins. So number 1 bulletin says, do you have too many bills or debts, right? Yes or no. Number 2 bulletin says, lack of savings or investment for retirement. These are yes or no. Lack of preparation for kids' college education. Yes or no. Not knowing enough about Medicare options. These are yes or no. Paying too much for health insurance but not getting enough benefits. These are also yes or no. And not having enough protection in case of disability, long-term illness, or even death, right? So these are yes or no questions. Number 3 question is, do you support children and aging parents or other dependents, right? Yes or no. Also, next question, number 4. Are you concerned about the future of your job or your career? Yes or no. Number 5. Do you feel that financial concepts that involves investments, debt, inflation, and taxes are confusing? Yes or no. Number 6. When saving, and investing, what would you rather for your money, right? This is not a yes or no, but this one is pretty much choosing between, would you rather have better safety or would you rather have better rate of return, which pretty much means like better interest on your money or better growth potential. I like to say, why not both, right? I like both. The next thing is number 7. What is your ideal retirement age, right? If it was like yesterday, you could put that down too. I always joke around with that, but yeah, that's pretty much conclude our personal challenges that some families are faced. So if you had any yes on this section, please make sure you sit down with the person that invites you, so that way that you guys could discuss how they can help you. Make sure you sit down with a licensed member, so that way they can help you with this information. So we do provide also financial solutions to some of these issues, and these are yes or no as well. Number 8, do you want to learn how to get your children into a good college with proper funding? That's a yes or no. Number 9, do you or does anyone you know need help with healthcare options, right? If you know anybody or yourself, yes or no. Number 10, do you want to learn more about how money works and how to build a strong financial foundation? This is also a yes or no. And number 11, are you interested in making money on a part-time basis, right? Yes or no. And number 12, do you want to explore a new business career in the fast-growing financial industry? Once again, this is also a yes or no. So these are our questionnaires, and what you do is that you fill this out. And what if you have questions, right? I would love for you to set up a follow-up time. And what someone would do is we do what's called a follow-up interview. And this is where you get all your questions answered, and any thing that you want to know more about, we'll go through that as well. And we also get some feedbacks from you too, because we love to know how we're doing and what is it that we share with you today. And like I said, make sure to sit down and take advantage of the free financial checkup and learn more, right? Because we have access to workshops and stuff like that, so you could come and learn. All right, so I appreciate you guys for being online. I appreciate you guys here, and I want to encourage you guys that always remember that you're one decision away from changing your future for the better. So always remember that the choice is yours. All right, so I thank you guys for having me, and for those online, I appreciate you all. Let's go out there and change the world, and God bless.